Hi all, it's Barb coming to you from my craft studio. Today I'm going to talk to you about how I store my embellishments. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I follow Totally Tiffany's 4-section system. I've participated in her Get Organized challenge since 2013, I believe. My stuff had gotten organized pretty much after like 3 or 4, maybe a few more challenges than that, maybe like 8 challenges, because she used to do 3 a year, so I'll say 8. It probably took a couple of years to get everything all done because I would work on it for a while and then I would stop, and then I'd work on it for a while and then I'd stop, so it took longer. But her system does the 4-section system, which is alphabets and numbers, which includes punctuation and non-themed words, themes A to Z, and you create your own themes based upon what you craft about. Calendar year, I tend to want to call it seasons because that's how I have my calendar year set up. I have it with winter, with Christmas and New Year's and Valentine's. And I do that for each of the seasons. And somebody says, "Oh, well, that wouldn't work for me because I live somewhere else." And we do. I said, "Well, you would customize it based on what was in your seasons." I'm just giving you an example of what my season has. But the reason Tiffany does that is because, let's say you're working on a Christmas page and you're thinking, "Oh, some snowflakes would look good on this." Well, if you've got to if you have those in winter and that's in the W's, the rest of Christmas is in the C's, you have to go back and forth. Whereas if you do it by the calendar year and you've got winter that goes into Christmas, New Year's, all that stuff is right next to each other. Yeah, there's a little flipping back and forth, but it's really right next to each other. So that's kind of why she says the seasons. Same with like autumn. I'm going by U.S. seasons. If you called it autumn or fall, well, there's Halloween, there's Thanksgiving. It saves you flipping back and forth, and there's crossover between those. Like a pumpkin you could use for fall, Halloween, or Thanksgiving. So I usually put my plain pumpkins in fall because I know where they're at, and then if it's cut out and it's a jack-o'-lantern, then it goes in Halloween. That's just how I do mine. And then the last section is the rainbow. None of the other themes, the other sections fit, it goes in rainbow. And I'm going to say I have a couple of sections that are pretty much just for cataloging purposes, like shapes. I don't craft about shapes, but I need somewhere to represent my dies, punches, stamps that are just embossing folders that just add dimension but don't really have a theme. So like if I have a set of circled eyes, they're going to go in my shape section. I do the same thing with garden because most of my flowers go in my rainbow section, because when I'm doing a project, I don't think, "Oh, it's got a flower theme." If you do, then maybe you need a flower theme. But for me, any theme might have flowers added to it. So I put them in the rainbow because I'm probably going to pick my flower based on what color it is. But I do have a garden flower section in my scrap rack to catalog flower. Like, here's my garden section right here. It's mainly for cataloging purposes. I put my catalog at the front of each section of my scrap rack, each section of my scrap rack, each theme. Some people put their catalog all in one place. I know Tiffany like chooses a spot in the middle of her scrap rack and her whole catalog is there. Tiffany must be a got a little. I'm sorry, because my catalog would be huge. I suppose I could have made it smaller by cutting down, but like I don't. If I have a stamp set, I just put that stamp set on my copier and I copy it once for each theme that it has something on it, and I just put the whole thing in here. It saved me time. So this is my garden section. Anything that had flowers or things that you would associate with a garden went in here. And then like this here is a Stampin' Up set. That is, and it has SU29 on it. That means Stampin' Up 29. So I know right where to go to find that set. So that's kind of how I do it. I did the same with shapes. I just wanted to kind of find a spot where I could flip to that maybe we could see easy. Here, my family and friends section. I don't like to put multiple things in a pocket. I try to put 1 or 2 unique things, sometimes 3, but I try not to go a lot because I'm not a digger. Some people love the hunt for scrap for their craft supplies. They're diggers. I'm not. That's why I really love the scrap rack, even though you could use it even if you were a digger. But I line each of the pockets on a scrap rack page with white cardstock. That way I can put stuff on both sides. There's stuff on this side of the page, and there's stuff on the back side of the page, but I can see all of it just as easily as the rest. So I don't have my seasonal stuff on my scrap rack. I just have so much stuff. I have a 5 base scrap rack. That's one thing I love about Tiffany Scrap Rack, and I believe she is bringing it back in her new company. Is you can use one base if you don't have much, or you can add extra bases and make it as big as you have the space and need to have. Here, these iris cases, these are I think called media storage towers on the Michaels website. I use these for my backstock. Tiffany talks about backstock in embellishment week, because a lot of times you'll have like a ton of red beads. You don't need that all in the place where you store your beads. Or like I have some duplicate rolls of red ribbon. I don't need all that ribbon with my ribbon storage. I don't need all my beads with my bead storage. I have some extra like sequins and things. That stuff, if I have more than one pack, I put the extra in my backstock. I mainly backstock based upon color or season. Now my season backstock is in the basement because I just didn't have enough room here, because some of these have extra type materials. That one's a Halloween one, but like this one here is filled with tags, the pre-made tags that I bought that I can embellish up and make into a project. I have a container like this full of my mom's old costume jewelry because I saved it to do. I'm hoping to do a project of some sort with it eventually. I have my punch board accessories over here, which I'll try to remember to cover that when I do punches, but basically I have a section for each thing of the rainbow. I also have an area over here that has all of my scrap rack pages. I sort them by size, and I have that over here. I'm just going to show it to you real quick. I can get in there without, it's hard to see because it's behind here. It's back here in this cube. I have 4 paper storage boxes. I have one that holds my alphabets. It's called my go back station. So I have one for alphabet, and I think I used it for specialty paper too because I didn't need that much space for alphabets. Then I have one for my themes, and there's a pocket. I'm just going to grab them. I have a Totally Tiffany 12 by 12 pocket. This will hold 12 by 12 supplies. Though I usually put the paper, the 12 by 12 behind it, but the smaller stuff I put in here. This one actually says birthday on it. So when I buy new stuff or after I craft a project, I take everything and sort it down by my 4-section system. So like I said, I got the alphabet, I got the themes, there's one for seasons, and there's a pocket for each category in my seasons section. And then I have a rainbow one, and there's one of these for each color. So after I finish like a craft project, I'll go over here and I'll pre-sort everything down. And then once a week, I try to go over and put it away. So then I can just take my box of themes over here, and my themed paper is right down here. I can file all that paper away, and then I can go through my scrap rack, and since those are in alphabetical order, I can just keep flipping down until I put all those things away. It makes putting things away really quick and easy for me. So that's why I love that. Here, these here hold my washi. This is a 25 cube calyx unit. It's from IKEA. It's a 5x5 unit. I have 2 of them back to back. They kind of serve as a room divider for me. They separate my craft area from hubby's and mine, but it's mainly hubby. It's TV watching area. So he can watch TV back there while I'm over here crafting. So that's kind of why I did that. But then I bought these inserts from IKEA. They're called, I think, a 4-shelf insert, but they actually divide this cube into 5 equal slots, and you can use those horizontally or vertically. See, these ones are horizontally, and this one I put them in vertically. This one actually has another one just set up vertically on the back side as well. And since they're cubes that are like, I think 16 inches deep, I can put my 12 by 24 paper in that slot. I have to get it out from the other side, which I loved. I don't really need to be able to have to get into this side from this side. But then I bought these 12, they're 12 by 12 by 2. They're Bright Room all-purpose storage trays. Now they won't hold 12-inch supplies because they measure 12 inches on the exterior. They are not 12 inches on the interior. So they won't hold your 12 by 12 supplies. But then what I did was I took paper, pieces of paper, and I used my scoreboard and I scored it I can't remember what it was. I have it written down somewhere. I want to say like 2 1/4 or 2.5 inches, something like that. The last one's probably slightly narrower than that, but I did it that way so that a roll of washi could pretty much fit in there. Now I have a few that are a little taller. Those I have to make sure I set at this end so that I can still get the tray mostly in. But most of them fit in there no problem. Just every now and then. Honestly, it's probably more that they made the core of the washi too big than that the washi roll has more on it. And then I found these handles on Amazon. They're self-adhesive handles, so they just stick on there. I bought those because this cube is 16 inches deep and this tray is 12 inches long. If you accidentally push that way back there, all the way in, without that handle, you can't. Or you can't easily. You can get it eventually, but it would be very difficult. So I like the handle so I can just pull it forward. That's why I use the self-adhesive handles. And then I have some of these dividers in my lower cubes down here too. I'm not going to be able to see that, but I can show you what's in there. I found these 12, I'm not sure, actually I'm not sure what they measure, but they do slide in here really well. They're bead storage trays. I believe they're by Elizabeth Ward. You can purchase them on Amazon. Stampin' Storage carries them. I'm sure other places carry them too that carry craft supplies. But these little containers in here are also Elizabeth Ward, and they come in like a small, I think it's a mini, a small, medium, and large. This is, I think, the smallest size, and this is the biggest size. So, and they slide in there and hold. They can hold jewelry findings, which that's kind of what this one is. They can hold beads. They can hold sequins, brads. Trying to think of what else. Oh, I put my non-adhesive gems in here that are individually. I do have them separated by types of things. But I had stored a lot of my little beads originally in these little containers that I got at Michael's, I believe. They're like Tic Tac type containers. And I'm just going to show you real quick. Those fit in here as well. When I discovered that, I thought, I am not redoing all those beads right now. Maybe eventually I'll redo them into the other type of things, but that seems like a waste of my energy when those containers fit in here. So this was like beads and jewelry findings. I think these ones are, yeah, these are the non-adhesive gems. This was actually a full pack that I got at Hobby Lobby, and it fit in there, so I just left it in there and put it there. But I separate them by color, and then I store them. So they're filed by rainbow. There might be one in there that's that has seasonal ones in it, like heart-shaped, or like the beads some might be Christmas shaped or whatever. But I also had a bunch of beads and findings or whatever. I guess they're not really findings, but we like these little, they're Supergirl. They're to make jewelry out of Wonder Woman beads. So I had like some charms and some bead sets in specific color. I was going to put these in a container, and I just discovered that none of the containers were really big enough. So I just decided to leave them in the bag and just put them in one of these trays. These are kind of specific for specific projects or whatever. So that's how I'm storing my beads and my gems. I have sequins down there, like little shaker filler stuff down there too. I kind of have them in each in a different tray, but they are filed. They are sorted by color when possible. So if they have multiple colors, in my rainbow section, I have a section called multi, which I put multi or clear items in there, because a lot of times a clear gem that you have, if you've got alcohol markers and you want a purple gem but you don't have the color purple you want, you can color it with your Copics or whatever alcohol markers you have. So since those can be any color, I put them in that section. But that's how I store my beads, gems, sequins, brads. They all go there. He actually talks about storing your bulky stuff right in your scrap rack, which you can certainly do, but for space, I chose not to. This here is my ribbon and twine storage up here. This is that other 25 cube calyx unit that's on the back side of the other one. And then I put the wine bottle inserts here. I use Tiffany's, this is her Merrill bag. It's designed to hold rolls of ribbon. But I don't like to bleed as you can see, I have a lot of ribbon. I took mine off the roll for that reason. I was looking for, or I use either Edna, this one was Edna, I think I might have called it Merrill, or I use Merrill. The difference is, see this one doesn't have any flap here. It just has the one Velcro closure along the long side. The Merrill adds the Velcro closure, a little flap on the two short ends, so it closes on 3 sides. And she did that so that you could use this bag for smaller tools. I think originally her thought was for like different small sewing tools when you wanted, especially if you were traveling with them. An enclosed bag would be easier to carry them in. But I use these interchangeably for my ribbon because they're the same exact size bag. What I do is I buy the Dollar Tree chopping mats and I cut them down. I think it's like 2 1/4 or 2 1/2 by that same measurement square. But if you were using a different bag for your ribbon and you wanted to use the same premise, you could just measure your bag and cut your chopping mat down to whatever size fits your bag or box that you were going to store your ribbon in, wrapped. I did it to this size because I was doing it in this bag and that worked for my bag. But then I just wrap my ribbon or trim around there. I store it mainly by color. I do have some theme. I have some themed ribbon that fits some of my themes, and then I have seasons. Like this is all winter, so I got winter, Christmas. I store it, and then by the rainbow. So that's how I store my ribbon and my twine. I usually have one section for twine and the rainbow too. One I said section, but it's really one bag like that. And then where's the other 2 things I was looking for? This one. This is a Totally Tiffany Dawn bag. The Dawn bag has 4 inserts that measure this size. And at one point, which they've been retired quite a while, but oops, I have some extras in there. I need to put those away. She sold button bags and like dividers. The set came with dividers, and I just labeled at the top what it is. The dividers are a little taller than the bag. And then she had the little bag and an insert in the bag to help keep your buttons standing upright in there. This one happens to be Christmas buttons. Put that one up somewhere else. So that's how I store my buttons. I have, I think, one of these for seasons and one of them for, and then I have some for one for the rainbow buttons. Here's my rainbow buttons. But it's the same method of storing them. And then where is the other one? I thought it was right there, but it is not. Oh, it's down below here. I see. And then this is the Gotcha bag, which works for your trims and seam binding. I mainly use it for seam binding, which at one time Tiffany sold bags to put those into. She had these little bags that fit in the Gotcha bag that you can put this one is trim, but usually I just keep my seam binding in there. I think I bought a few trims at one point when it might have been clearance. And I liked how they look, so I bought them. But that's how I store my seam binding. Like right here, these containers have my big wood beads in them. I had put them that way before we moved, and I just decided to leave them. It was working, so I figured why move it. The other ones were for my smaller beads that I probably would use those things in different ways, but I know where they all are. So my beads are here. On the top up there, there are some extra like strands of beads. There's some little wood pieces. There's some metal pieces. What else do I have up there? That one's labeled tags, clamps. There's note paper. I don't know how much embellishment stuff is up there, but I put that stuff up there. I tend to keep my bulky seasonal stuff. I just put it in a big plastic tote and keep it in our basement. This cart is a Hudson cart from Michael's. I'm not sure what brand they put it under. I think it used to be under the Recollections line, but they might call it something else now. A lot of their storage has switched to like Simply Tidy, I think. But this is one of those carts, and I have little dividers that also came from Michael's. But I'm storing my planner stickers. I have some stamps there too, but mainly I did it for my stickers. I used the Totally Tiffany. These are designed for the Kirsten bag. I think they measure 6 by 9. I decided to tear apart all of my sticker books. So I did that. I tore apart all of my sticker books. There's a couple maybe that are still together that I haven't finished because I have not finished that task. I work on that sometimes when I'm over here and I'm like, well, I want to get something else done. I'll work on that. But I have it divided down. Like here, this is my setup and functional stickers, though I did take a Totally Tiffany Kirsten bag and filled it with some of those because I bring that over to the house all the because sometimes I work on my planner at the house, so I put my setup stickers kind of in that so that I could bring that over easily, and then I could just sit it over here when I'm not using it. And then I have my themes. My seasons take the middle row up because my favorite stickers are the seasonal stickers. I use those the best. Then at the bottom I have like licensed characters, which has like the Disney ones, or my Supergirl or Wonder Woman stickers are down there. And then I have a row for rainbow stickers. I'm toying with that one, thinking maybe more of my stickers should be filed by rainbow, so when I'm doing a planner spread, I could say, oh, let me just get my red stickers out because that goes with whatever theme, whatever page spread I'm working on. But I did want to include my planner stickers in this video. That's Totally Tiffany paper cart. I am using that for my planners. I see, kind of labeled them up. This is like my fall planners. I have it on top. I kind of rotate those around based upon what season it is. This has old planner pages. I do have them separated by the year they were, because that way I can just, if possible, let's say I'm working on a new page, if I can find a month that's laid out the same exact way I put the calendar for that year there, I can just go find that exact calendar layout so that I have less renumbering to do. Extra planner covers are in this little one. These bins that I'm using here are Bright Room storage bins. They still have the small and the large one, but and the extra large one, I believe this one they classified as a medium one. I don't think they carry this size anymore, which is too bad. I was glad I had that I had purchased an extra one because I ended up needing it. And then I've got winter, spring, and summer on the bottom row. And once I get to December, I'll rotate those so that fall goes down there and I bring winter up here. And then this is how I'm storing my extra rings. for now. I'm not sure that's how they're staying, but for now, that's how my extra rings are stored. Anyways, that's how I'm storing my embellishments. The flat stuff is pretty much on the scrap rack outside of the planner stickers. I store those separate because I use those different. My planner stickers pretty much just go on my planner, and when I'm planning, I prefer just to pull my cart over, sit at my desk, and plan. I do like this way too, that like if I do want to bring something over the house, I can just grab that particular theme off there and bring it over. I can toss it in one of the Kirsten bags, since that fits perfectly with the Happy Planner stickers, and just bring it over to the house. So if I want to work on a planner, my planner over there, I can do it easily. But that is it for embellishment.